Welcome to the Gateway of Dread, where the forest's whispers turn into chilling tales, revealing the darkest secrets lurking in the shadows. Today, you'll embark on a winding path through three distinct, yet equally spine-chilling stories of those who encountered the unknown while isolated deep in the woods. Each narrative delivers chills, unsettling what you hold as safe, reminding us of the mysteries that dwell in the heart of America's sprawling wilderness. Prepare for a harrowing dive into the darkest, most isolated corners, where reality and the otherworldly dance in unsettling choreography. I recall it was 2015 when I set out on a driving escapade to explore a forest situated several hours from my home. Rumor had it, there was an old, forsaken fire lookout tower in the area that piqued my adventurous spirits. Although the visit wasn't exactly sanctioned due to the tower's neglected and potentially unstable state, my curiosity spurred me to dig up online anecdotes. The gist was relatively positive, although the freshest account dated back 3 years, leaving a lot to imagination. Determined and undeterred, I parked my car off-road, hoisted my backpack for 2 days of supplies, and commenced my hiking expedition. Exploring such places typically meant veering off traditional paths, so I relied on a handheld GPS to navigate, mostly treading through uncharted forest terrain. The walk from the car to the tower was estimated at 4 to 5 hours, growing progressively rugged and thick. I hoped dearly the tower still stood firm enough to camp in. Otherwise, resorting to the wild for a night might become a necessity. After countless hours plodding through the dense woods, my destination emerged overhead. The tower peaked from the treetops, and as I advanced, it seemed sturdier than anticipated. The paint was weathered, but the structural integrity boasted resilience. Testing the support beams revealed a robust frame, and I ascended the metal ladder that noisily protested each step. Upon reaching the top, I was greeted by a breathtaking view, showcasing an endless panorama of green canopies. No roads or buildings marred this vast expanse. Captivated by the view, I turned to inspect the interior of the lookout. Compact, it bore no resemblance to the large modernized ones often seen. Inside, worn bed frames and an ancient wooden table sat in corners, with rotted window panes lining the walls. Unpacked and settling in, I laid out my bedding, igniting a small stove for dinner as dusk settled in. As the tranquil twilight descended, I savored one of the most astonishing views I'd ever encountered. Time slipped away, and darkness enveloped the surroundings. The sky, cloaked in clouds, obscured stars and moon, plunging everything into shadow. With little else to occupy me, I sat outside, absorbing the view, until an unusual light amongst the trees captured my attention. A glow moved beneath the branches, not an artificial beam, but an orange flicker reminiscent of a torch. Clearly, someone was journeying through the forest below without the aid of a conventional flashlight, the isolation only emphasizing the improbability of such company. The moving light deeper within the canopy was oddly fascinating. I watched as it disappeared behind unseen barriers. After a half hour without reappearance, complacency lulled me into relaxation. Yet when a chilling wind blew in, I decided to take one last sweeping look around before retiring. Then I noticed a figure on the grassy patch bordering the forest and tower, seemingly fixated on me, perhaps the torchbearer. Intrigued, I called out, "Hello?" Silence followed, the figure and I locked in a silent exchange. To my surprise, they raised a hand, a gesture seeming to convey acknowledgement or apology, then turned away, melting into the forest blanket without a light. The episode was eerie, yet somehow felt mundane. A fellow explorer, maybe, checking for occupancy. Their pause puzzled me, but without answers, I lingered a while before settling back inside. Fighting the impacts of the chilly gusts and creaking beams, slumber eventually overcame me. It became hard to gauge how much time slipped by. I woke to a still wind and engulfing darkness. My abrupt wakefulness puzzled me, until a metallic clinking reached my ears. I sat, questioning if it was a figment of my imagination, but the sound persisted, footsteps growing certain in their ascent. Claustrophobically surrounded by the dark, I rose, stifling my rising heartbeat, clutching my backpack as I moved to the ledge. Within a fleeting 20 seconds to the ledge, the sounds intensified, the urgency in their pace clearly mounting, until silence reigned once more. Hesitant yet alert, I braved the steps around the walkway, peering cautiously at the ladder's opening. Empty. Confounded, yet driven by fearful adrenaline, the passageway echoed unexpectedly with hurried footsteps trailing my path. Barely sighting a fleeting silhouette through the windows propelled me instinctively down the metal ladder at haste, clattering wildly. Each step oscillated with the persistent creak of metal, my pursuer's noises hauntingly near overhead. Yet my gaze stayed stubbornly forward, propelling myself downward briskly, only slowing upon reaching the forest below, finding concealed sanctuary away from pursuing eyes. In retrospect, lugging my backpack proved fortuitous, my GPS torchlight guiding me hastily back to my car. Ensured safe, I retreated into the night without glancing back. I planned a weekend camping at a secluded lake, with nothing extravagant in mind. The goal was simple: revel in a few days amid the forest by the water, laying low with no real agenda. The inaugural day aligned perfectly. Camp pitched, hours basked in the wilderness soothing balm, immersed in serene isolation. The lake, accessed via an almost undetectable overgrown path not charted on any map, whispered secrets revealed only to locals. It was a childhood haunt with my dad, forever etched in familial nostalgia. Years of visiting had yet to yield other souls. Scarce signs indicated prior habitation. Open-minded about today, I meandered around the lake repeatedly, immersed in introspection. Somewhere along my third or fourth circuit, something unusual surfaced. Footprints etched into the soil on the arboreal fringe. These sudden prints unnerved me slightly. They were a puzzling anomaly, vividly fresh and certainly barefoot, not cobbled by boots. The impractical lack of water access or evidence of footwear removal reinforced curiosity. Why wouldn't I have noticed them before? Despite dread hinting at another's proximity, curiosity propelled me ahead. Tried as I might to disregard, lingering gazes suggested an unseen presence. A watcher, perhaps. Clobbered with indecision, I opted to retrace my steps back from curiosity's wiles. Wooded unknowns teeming heavy with a sense of dread. As dusk consumed the lake, trepidation crept through. Anxious about visitors, childhood vulnerabilities provoked a frenzied bolstering of the campfire, hoping distraction might dissolve restlessness. But attempts at calming simmering fears faltered. Murderous footsteps, unrelenting, drawing dread nearer, dragged paranoia from its dusky slumber. Methodically slow, these sounds emerged from the trees, confounding urgency. Eventually, two forms materialized through the latticework of darkness, man and woman side by side, hesitantly approaching proximity of the fire-lit circumference. Shadowed figures revealed vague shapes. Clarity evaded defining features or identifying their purpose. "Do you need help?" The question quivered. Abruptly, the woman turned heel, vanishing into woodland shadows, leaving behind a bystander stoutly frozen in his stance. The man persisted in remaining, immobility unchallenged by her departure. Feet absent of shoes offered revelation, perhaps the owner of those lakeside tracks. Polite inquiry replayed. "Need any assistance?" His silent retreat bespoke my disquiet. An icy shiver spiraled upward, an encounter bizarrely disorienting, rendering reality ethereal. Resolved never to linger a moment longer, expedience dictated swiftness. Lightly burdened gear was swept into bags, a tapering escalation facilitating rapid egress. Where their paths veered, I dared not fathom. With campfire embers softly smothered, the trek towards civilization resumed, a winding passage spanning nearly 2 hours. Initial steps teetered with dread, keenly aware a trailing presence might shadow. As the minutes elapsed, fear drained steadily, saturated calmness reasserting control. 40 minutes elapsed amidst the hushed canopy, rhythm crickets absent from the script, broken, sudden darting footsteps, close yet hidden. No eye framed the mysterious movement definitively, yet proximity ensured granules of caution deepening. Movement mirrored in echo, their movement quiet. Stealth applauded amid suggestion of bare feet, familiar specters from the lakeside vigil. Should these figures indeed shadow my forestly exodus, intention remained a complete cipher. Brief bouts quickened my pace, an arduous journey framed by haunting bursts of pursuers' movement. Nothing, within the dense, whispered wood, paralleled this unsettling promenade, anxiety unchecked, yet familiar. Racing an unseen threat to secure escape. Eventually, within my truck's security, urgency galvanized progress. Retreat soured by uncertainty. No identification forthcoming regarding spectral visitors, nor motivation hidden in vagaries. Bearing unanswered questions, the folktales wondered if ephemeral spirits or tangible strangers troubled those forested sanctuaries. Imagination toyed with intuition. Were they true entities of existence or masks of the incredulous? Regardless, investigation avoided. Retracing history abstained. As a woman from Nebraska in her mid-20s, I spent a few years traversing the Midwest, dwelling within my customized camper van. Life on the open road held a compelling allure, far removed from metropolitan chaos, favoring secluded campsites amid America's rural tapestry. Eschewing urban sprawl, my preference leaned towards serene outskirts, whereby distance promised a sanctuary beyond civilization's reach. Comfort lay in forestry solitude. Prowling remnants of dusk seldom afforded the unease a crowded car lot might breed. Roaming amid morning fog felt more assured than concrete squares' shadow craned towers beneath. That week, exploration lingered between Midwestern giants, leisurely tracing rustic backroads pocketed with campsites hugging unseen pathways. By happenstance one afternoon, fortune smiled. An unmarked earthen track wove deeper into a woodsy retreat. Hidden clearings peppered the path, ghostly echoes of previous wanderers. Undeterred, pursuit of grander perspectives lured onward. Tucked afar, a refuge enveloped me, devoid of majestic vistas, yet tranquility lay smothered in arboreal embrace. Residing there alone, peace palpably reigned. Seasonal rains prevailed incessantly through May, outdoor pursuits curtailed accordingly. Venturing beyond the van remained scarce. Shelter beckoned inside, a stovetop harbinger of warmth. Watching daylight succumb to overcast, van portals sealed hopelessness against incoming storms, a rear window reluctantly yawning briefly ajar. Wind-blown tails murmured through small gaps, a welcome scenario against tired skin. Despite nature's gentle lullaby, flickers amid a streaming video intruded distractingly. A reflection, luminously incongruent. Curious, swift disturbance disengaged sight, trailing fleeting residue in its wake. Escaping recognition through haste, each glance revealed scant detail. Darkness conspired with precipitation, muddling external perception. Significance unknown. Sense tilted toward nonchalance. The lights of another camper meandering, or at least an assumption most rational. With interest abated, eyes returned screenward, distracted intervals redecorating glances toward the darkened pane. Curious lilts occasionally felt intrusive, awaiting beckoning strands weaving inevitability within every patter across sheet metal. Affirmation lacking, worry dissipated, a mindful vigil relinquishing hold, approaching the cusp of night's departure. Eventide closed upon ensembled senses, lights extinguished, curtains sealed, daylight retreat behind a tailored interior. Blanketed now, restiveness bartered sleep's embrace. Surging thunder rattled stillness, evasive tranquility slipping from reach. Worse, within drenched reverie, imaginings bestilled offered stirring tales, the choreographed rustle of healing footsteps bruising the wilderness hall. Brusque impacts echoed distinct. Stillness ended, forging undefined suspense. Bowed nerves imposed fulminant watchfulness. Perception insisted on witness. Exterior possibilities skewed ironic, haunting language sought context. Where night-cloaked existence, a dense, seething whisper echoed reconnaissance, compelled by circumstance, flying apprehension seated within fragility's cradle. Pitched within subsequent moments, phantom figures lurked unseen, weather-bound specters staking claim in darkening corners. Repeated interval matched echoed repetition, sinister crooning, fractured expectation. Such rhythm fell upon sensory grips anew, quietude unbroken, language suspended by focused tension. Barriers moistened, wrought ensuing steps, stealthy, within insufficient daylight's hold. A sound relented, a shaking moored truce, movement suggestive. Aware of the unyielding rain binding all together, voices, silent sliced lifts sounding palpable, cravings unanswered within absence. Unspoken retorts faded beyond anticipation. A firmament's lull soon lifted, figures conjured with surreal conservation, loitering beyond periphery. Voices burdened with authority reversed, fidelity assured by cynicism's embrace. Doubt resonated alongside whispered exigency. Recalled fortitude whipped decisiveness, impulsions guided by assurance growing tenebrous. Placing devices resolved a daring retreat, decisions plucked by inspiration. Discharging haste echoed nearby, rhythmic pulses ensnared tension. In concert came strides echoing advances, figures drawn close. Imminence feigned, sought resolve. With resolve invited, velocity exceeded expectation's skyline, yielding sanctuary found through cautious travel, release achieved within newfound trespass. Reports cast a net, evidence scarce beneath illustrious exterior. 2 blocks removed, spirits unveiled, impressions left inscribed, motes grasping destiny as threads withdrew, a narrative lacking definitive coda. Ambiguity intertwined, conscious awareness fled to material dimensions beyond possibility, from which harsh encounter escaped. Having taken a journey teetering on the edge of reality and mystery through these unsettling tales, we have threaded the thin line between safety and suspense. These 3 narratives, distinct yet interconnected through their chilling atmosphere, prompt introspection into what might linger just beyond the visible world. As these stories remind, in nature solitude is deceptive. A whisper, a stray sound, might betray unseen company, mere steps away. Thank you for joining us on this unsettling voyage into the unknown, and we eagerly await your return to probe further into the gateway of dread.